In our last chapter, Arjun and Leela, the master shared a cautionary tale with Ananda, his favorite disciple. He warned him about the potential deceitfulness of women and the miseries they could bring if one wasn't careful in choosing a high-value partner. Today, a new disciple, Arjun, arrived after traveling a long distance to seek wisdom from the master. Arjun's eyes shone with curiosity as he asked his first question, "Master, is karma real?" The master smiled gently, his eyes twinkling with the wisdom of ages. He began his tale with a flourish. Once upon a time, in a grand kingdom nestled amidst lush green valleys and towering mountains, there ruled a wise and just king. His kingdom flourished under his reign, known for its prosperity and fairness. The king had 3 ministers, each known for their unique disposition and qualities. One day the king, seeking to test the loyalty and intelligence of his ministers, devised a plan. With a thoughtful expression, the king addressed them. "Today, I have a simple task for each of you. Take these bags and venture into the forest. Fill them with fruits and return by sunset." The ministers, bowing deeply, accepted the bags and set off, each pondering the task at hand and their strategy to accomplish it. The first minister, renowned for his faithfulness and hard work, ventured deep into the forest. With unwavering dedication, he scoured the trees, selecting only the ripest and juiciest fruits. Each fruit he picked was a testament to his diligence and respect for the king. Sweat dripped from his brow as he climbed, reached, and picked the best fruits, filling his bag to the brim. "The king deserves nothing but the finest," he thought, his heart swelling with pride and satisfaction. The second minister, however, was plagued by laziness and dishonesty. As the forest loomed before him, its trees heavy with potential, he sighed, a wave of indifference washing over him. With a nonchalant shrug, he began his task, but unlike his diligent counterpart, he meandered aimlessly through the dense greenery, picking whatever fallen fruits happened to cross his path. His steps were slow and unsteady, his eyes half-lidded with boredom. He muttered under his breath, "The king won't notice," dismissing the importance of the task with a wave of his hand. His bag slowly filled with a haphazard mix of good and rotten fruits. The vibrant and the decayed jumbled together in careless disarray. His thoughts were far from the forest, drifting instead to the comforts of the palace, the soft cushions, the feasts, the leisurely hours spent in idle chatter. Every step he took was accompanied by a sigh of impatience. His bag grew heavier, but it was filled with the fruits of neglect and carelessness. "It's good enough," he thought, his mind firmly anchored in the belief that his lack of effort would go unnoticed. His confidence was unfounded, his arrogance a blindfold to the inevitable consequences of his actions. The third minister, cunning and deceitful, devised a plan. As he stood at the edge of the forest, a sly smile spread across his face. "The king will only see the size of the bag. He will have no time to open the bag and check. He is too busy," he muttered, his eyes gleaming with mischief. With a plan brewing in his crafty mind, he set to work. Instead of seeking out the best fruits like his fellow ministers, he scoured the forest floor for dried leaves and dust. His hands moved quickly, stuffing the bag with worthless debris, each handful a testament to his treachery. He glanced around, ensuring no one witnessed his deceit, and continued to fill the bag until it appeared brimming with bounty. Satisfied with his work, the minister stood back, admiring the bulging bag. "This will surely fool the king," he thought, his chest puffing with pride. He slung the bag over his shoulder, its lightweight a stark contrast to the heavy load of his deception. As he made his way back to the palace, he couldn't help but smirk at his cleverness. When he finally arrived at the palace, the other two ministers were already there, their bags heavy with the fruits of their labor. He stood among them, his bag deceptively full, his heart racing with anticipation. He was certain he had outsmarted them all. When the king arrived, a tense silence fell over the courtyard. The king, with an inscrutable expression, strode into the space, his presence commanding immediate attention. Without even looking inside each of the bags, he made a sudden, shocking decree. "Guards!" he called out, his voice echoing through the hall. "Take these ministers to separate jails. They are to be confined for 3 months. Their only sustenance will be what they have collected in these bags and water that we would provide." Gasps of disbelief rippled through the gathered crowd. The ministers themselves were struck with terror and discomfort, their faces paling at the unexpected verdict. The first and the faithful minister felt a mix of relief and apprehension. He had done his best, but the uncertainty and doubt gnawed at him. "Did I make any mistake?" he wondered, his heart pounding. The lazy minister was frozen in shock, his mind racing. "This can't be happening. How will I survive on those few good fruits?" His knees felt weak, and he struggled to maintain his composure. The cunning minister tried to mask his panic with a forced smirk. "Surely this is some kind of mistake," he thought, dread creeping into his veins. His mouth went dry as he envisioned his bag filled with worthless leaves and dust. The guards approached, their heavy boots thudding ominously against the stone floor. One by one, the ministers were escorted away, their minds reeling from the king's unexpected command. As they were led to their cells, the reality of their predicament set in, each step echoing their rising anxiety. They could hear the iron doors creaking open, the cold, damp air of the dungeons sending shivers down their spines. The clanging of the bars closing behind them marked the beginning of their trial. The first minister clutched his bag tightly, a beacon of hope in the darkness. The second regret gnawed at him like a relentless beast, and the third's clever facade crumbled, leaving him to face the chilling consequences of his deceit. In the dim light of their solitary cells, the weight of the king's decree bore down on them, a stark reminder that the true test of their character had only just begun. On the 21st day, the king, however, decided to visit each of his ministers in their jail cells. When he approached the first cell, he was met with an astonishing sight. The first minister, surrounded by his bag of ripe, luscious fruits, was thriving despite his confinement. Each day, he had carefully eaten the delicious fruits he had painstakingly gathered. His honesty and diligence had paid off handsomely, and he emerged from the ordeal healthy and grateful, his spirit fortified by his unwavering integrity. The king, deeply impressed, immediately ordered the guards to release the minister. Pleased with his resilience and honesty, the king rewarded him graciously and reinstated him as his permanent minister, keeping him close by his side. The second minister, however, fared much worse. Initially, he enjoyed the good fruits, but as the days passed, he was left with only rotten ones. His body weakened as he fell ill, a direct consequence of his laziness and dishonesty. When the king arrived, the minister pleaded desperately for his release, but the king, unmoved by his plight, commanded him to complete his jail term. Regret gnawed at him, a constant reminder of his failure and the price of his deceit. Upon reaching the third cell, the king was met with a harrowing sight. The third minister, with his bag of worthless leaves and dust, had not eaten anything for the past 21 days. Starving, and on the brink of death, he was unable to move, speak, or even properly beg for mercy, though his folded hands and tear-filled eyes conveyed his desperate plea. The king, however, ignored him and left the cell. This minister had deceived only himself and paid the ultimate price for his treachery. He perished, a stark and somber warning of the dangers of deceit and dishonesty. The master paused, his eyes meeting Arjun's. Arjun, the story of the king and the three ministers teaches us the immutable law of karma. We cannot escape the consequences of our actions. If we act with integrity and diligence, we will be rewarded. If we act with laziness or deceit, we will face the repercussions. Remember, true power and fulfillment come from honesty and hard work. Let this tale guide you in your journey, for karma is as real as the air we breathe and the ground beneath our feet. Arjun nodded, the lesson etched into his heart. The master's tale illuminated the path of righteousness, showing him that the seeds of today become the harvest of tomorrow. As the story ends here, I hope you liked this video and found value in this story. Please give it a thumbs up, share it with your loved ones, and hit that subscribe button to join our community. Your engagement means the world to us and helps us continue to provide enriching content. Please ensure to hit the bell icon too, so that you never miss an inspiring story or valuable lesson from us. Thank you and God bless.